What's up? I am Runs with Alpacas, and I have another deck profile. This one is an update on my build for Magnet Warriors. I had seen someone messing around and summoning Naturia Beast and Magnet Warriors, and it seemed like a good idea, so I kind of went in that direction with the deck, and this is my result, so I'll get right into it. To start off, I play 3 copies of Alpha, the Electromagnet Warrior. Alpha is one of your 2 key searchers. Alpha searches for Berserkion or Valkyrion, so Alpha's really good. Next, I play 3 copies of Beta, the Electromagnet Warrior. Beta, in my opinion, is the best of the 3 level 3 Electromagnet Warriors. Beta searches for either Alpha or Gamma, the Electromagnet Warrior, so it's kind of like your Stratos for the Magnet Warrior archetype. Next, I play 3 copies of Gamma, the Electromagnet Warrior. Probably the worst of the level 3 Magnet Warriors, but I still play 3 copies of it. Most people just play 2, but I think it's important to play all 3 copies. This is the one I usually like to see in the graveyard as early as possible, so that I don't have to normal summon it to gain its effect. Its effect, by the way, is just when it's normal or special summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Magnet Warrior from your hand. Next, I play 3 copies of Delta, the Magnet Warrior. This one is basically Foolish Burial for any of the level 3 Magnet Warriors. I used to only want to summon this from deck by tributing off the level 3 Magnet Warriors. If you're unaware, Alpha, Beta, and Gamma all have the same effect, where on your opponent's turn, they can tag out and special summon a level 4 Magnet Warrior from the deck, and that would usually be Delta. And when Delta summoned that way, it gets its Foolish Burial type effect. But now that I'm trying to kind of turbo out Naturia Beast in this deck, Delta is a lot more useful in your hand than it used to be, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Next, we have 3 copies of Berserkion, the Electromagnet Warrior. It's the boss monster for the deck, and it's really easy to summon. You have to special summon it first by banishing Alpha, Beta, and Gamma from either your hand, field, or graveyard, any combination of those. So real simple to get this guy out. When it's destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, it does summon those banished monsters back, so it's nice that it floats. But the real cool part about Berserkion is its non-once per turn effect. It can banish a Magnet Warrior monster from your graveyard to pop a card on your opponent's side of the field. So Berserkion can clear out like entire fields on its own, depending on how full your graveyard is of Magnet Warriors. So I like Berserkion a lot. It's a really well-designed boss monster. I do play 2 copies of Valkyrion, the Magnet Warrior. You can summon this out directly from the deck with Delta. I rarely do that, but sometimes it is useful to just be able to summon out a big beater. It's mainly here just for the fusion. I do play the fusion in the extra deck. So 2 copies of Valkyrion. Next, I play 2 copies of Power Giant. This is a card I used to only play at 1, and I bumped it up to 2 because I've seen its utility rise with the new way I've been playing the deck, trying to get out Naturia Beast. Basically, you summon this card out by discarding a level 4 or lower monster. Most likely, you're going to discard a level 3 Magnet Warrior, and then his level reduces by the level of the discarded monster. So 6 minus 3, Power Giant becomes a level 3. And then, neatly enough, since he's a level 3 rock at that point, you can use cards like Magnetic Field to summon the Electromagnet Warrior back and gain their effects. So Power Giant and Magnetic Field is a pretty good combo for this deck. I like it a lot, so I bumped it up to 2. Next, I play 1 copy of Sentry Soldier of Stone. I don't necessarily like this card that much, but it can be really useful. Basically, if this card's in your graveyard and all monsters you control are rocks, you can special summon this from the graveyard. Since a lot of the extra deck is not really rock-based anymore, it can just be a dead card in your graveyard, but in theory, it's just an extra summon from your grave, so really good in that sense. And then the last monster I play is 1 copy of Glow Up Bulb. You can send this to the graveyard with cards in the extra deck. I'll get into that later, but this is just here to be able to make the Naturia Beast. For spell cards, I play 3 copies of Magnetic Field. This is the most important spell card in the entire deck. It allows you to summon your Magnet Warrior monsters from the graveyard if you control a level 4 or lower rock-type monster. Additionally, if one of your rock type monsters battles an opponent's monster and your opponent's monster is still in the field, you can like compulse it back to their hand. It doesn't usually come up too often. This deck's usually pretty good about being able to attack over your opponent's monsters. But 3 magnetic field, really important for being able to special summon your Magnet Warriors back. I play 3 copies of Terraforming to search out those magnetic fields. Nothing really necessary to be said about those. I do play 1 more field spell. I play 1 copy of Fusion Recycling Plant. Basically, what this card does, you discard a card from your hand and you search Polymerization either from your deck or your graveyard. So it's pretty good in that sense. If you've already used your Polymerization, you can just get it back. But I like it for its discard effect. If you use this and you have Magnetic Field in your hand, you might be able to summon the monster you discarded back. So it has a little bit of utility in this deck. And then I do play the 1 copy of Polymerization to search for that, and it's just here to summon the fusion monster. Next, I play 3 copies of Instant Fusion. I was playing this card before, but I have a new target in my extra deck to summon with it, one that makes a little more sense. I get a lot more utility out of this card, and in fact, if you open with this card, you're a quarter of the way to making your Naturia Beast. You just need 3 other cards in your hand and you're there. I'll show you how to do that at the end of the video. Next, I play 1 copy of Foolish Burial. Ideally, you would send something like Sentry Soldier of Stone with this, but it can also just be any other Electromagnet Warrior that you need in the grave. You can even send Delta to the grave if you have enough Magnet Warriors to banish to summon Valkyrion. That's real desperate. I would not recommend doing that, but it is a possibility. I play 1 copy of Monster Reborn. A lot of stuff's going to the graveyard, so Graveyard Revival is really key. Likewise, I play 1 Soul Charge. And lastly, I play 1 Upstart Goblin. Just 39 cards is better than 40. That's it for spell cards. For trap cards, I play 2 copies of Back to the Front. Again, Revival from the graveyard is really key to this deck. This card is great with the Electromagnet Warriors because you can summon the Electromagnet Warrior, get its effect, and then tribute the Electromagnet Warrior for Delta to get an additional dump of an Electromagnet Warrior. So summoning on your opponent's turn is really useful in Magnet Warriors. And lastly, I play 1 Solemn Judgment and 1 Solemn Warning. Just really good generic back row cards. Any deck can make use out of these. For the extra deck, I play 3 copies of Mrs. Radiant. This is not overkill. This is actually really necessary. 2 copies of Mrs. Radiant on the field helps you OTK really easily. You're not going to summon all 3 at the same time, but if you're grinding out games, you might lose 1 copy early on, so it's good to have the extra 2 copies to be able to summon. Next, I play 1 copy of Underclock Taker. Pretty obvious. If you have any sort of monster with high attack, and this is pointing to it, then you're in a good situation to be able to break through your opponent's board. The last Link monster I play is 1 Decode Talker. It's just a good option to go in if Underclock Taker or Mrs. Radiant are kind of clogging up my field. I can use Decode Talker to clear up some space. Next, I play 2 copies of Gorgonic Guardian. This card is awesome. It's one of the best rank 3 Xyz monsters there is. However, since it's restricted to rock-type monsters, you never see it played. But basically, it has a quick effect where you can detach a material and negate an opponent's monster's effects. And that monster's attack also becomes 0. So it's a really good interruption card. I play 1 copy of Giant Soldier of Steel. This card's kind of funny. So it's unaffected by other monster effects. That's kind of really the only good part of its effect. But if you are not in a good situation, you can summon this in defense, and it has a quick effect where you can detach a material and it gains 1,000 defense. Since it's unaffected by other monster effects, Borreload Dragon would not be able to attack over this. So it's basically just a 3,000 wall that your opponent most likely can't get through by battle. So it got a real niche purpose, but it looks cool, and it fits with the theme of the deck. Next, I play 1 copy of Levier, the Sea Dragon. Really crucial. You're banishing stuff with Berserkion, so it's nice to be able to get those back if they have a way to out your Berserkion without letting it float. So Levier can be real good. I play 1 copy of Melee of the Trees. This is for sending Glow Up Bulb. It's awesome because it's Earth, so you can go into Mrs. Radiant after, and this is kind of the key to how you're going to get Naturia Beast out. So 1 copy of Melee of the Trees. Next, I play 2 copies of Empyrean Magnum, the superconductive battle bot. It's a 4000 beat stick that has a quick effect to negate a spell/trap card or monster effect. It also floats if it is removed from the field by an opponent's card effect. You summon a Berserkion and a Valkyrion directly from your deck. So this card can be a pain to get around. Something like this and a Mrs. Radiant should be game, most likely. So I like 2 copies of this. They come up pretty frequently. Next, I play 1 copy of Fusionist and 1 copy of Carbonala Warrior. These are your instant fusion targets. Carbonala Warrior helps you make the Naturia Beast, and Fusionist helps you make Melee of the Trees. So, you can't use them both in the same combo, but one of the other is going to help you get there, so I play these 2. And the last card I play is 1 Naturia Beast. Something like Sky Strikers, this card is a real pain in the ass for them. It's cool that you can make it in this deck, so kind of wanted to focus this new deck idea based around making this card. So I'll show you how to do that in just a second. What I want to do now is show you a couple of the combos that can get you into your turn 1 Naturia Beast. So to do that, in your hand, these are the cards you absolutely need to have. 1 Delta, 1 Magnetic Field, and 1 Instant Fusion. Obviously something like Terraforming would work too. And you also need 1 of either of these cards. It can be either one, it just can't be Gamma. You need 1 of the other level 3 Magnet Warriors. So for the purposes of this example, we'll just use Beta. The first step you're going to do is you're going to summon Delta the Magnet Warrior. You're going to use Delta's effect to send Gamma the Magnet Warrior to the graveyard. Next, you're going to activate Magnetic Field. Magnetic Field is going to be able to activate its effect to summon back the Gamma. So you summon Gamma, and then you summon Beta from the hand using the effect of Gamma. Beta will search you for a level 3 Magnet Warrior, so you can search for the Alpha. Next, you're going to activate Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion will summon the Fusionist. With the Gamma and the Fusionist, you're going to make Melee. You're going to use Melee's effect to send Glow Up Bulb to the graveyard. You're going to summon the Glow Up Bulb using its own effect. Next, you're going to use Beta and Melee to summon the Mrs. Radiant. And then you're going to use Glow Up Bulb and Delta to summon Naturia Beast. And you are left with an Alpha in the hand and 1 other card. You can do this combo another way. For this combo, you're going to need 1 Instant Fusion in hand, 1 Magnetic Field, 1 Power Giant, and 1 Beta. And for this one, it has to be Beta. It's not too unlikely to have this as your opening hand. These are all 3-ofs with the exception of Power Giant. You start off by discarding the Beta to summon your Power Giant. At this point, Power Giant is a level 3 rock, so it meets the activation requirements for Magnetic Field, which you will activate now. Magnetic Field's effects will summon the Beta, and Beta is going to search for Delta. Next, you summon the Delta, and you can send any Magnet Warrior from your deck to the graveyard. I usually like to do Gamma, because this is the one I don't really want to see in my opening hand. I want to send it to the graveyard most times, so we're going to send Gamma with the Delta. Next, you're going to activate Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion will summon the Fusionist. At this point, I like to overlay the Power Giant and the Fusionist to make Melee. I don't like to summon Melee with the Beta, because if my opponent has some form of disruption, I like to have Beta on the field so it can tag out during my opponent's turns. But anyway, you summon Melee, and you use Melee's effect to send Glow Up Bulb to the grave. Then you summon Glow Up Bulb with its own effect, and you use Melee and Beta to summon the Mrs. Radiant, and then the Glow Up Bulb and the Delta to make Naturia Beast. And in your hand, you are left with 1 card. So this is technically a neg-1 combo, but getting Naturia Beast out against the right deck can be really, really strong. So these are just 2 combos that make a pretty decent board. So that is the entire deck profile. I really hope you enjoyed it. This deck was a lot of fun to make, and it's just as fun to play. It's not exactly what I would say a consistent deck, but it can make a pretty intimidating board. And Magnet Warriors don't have to be super consistent. They're pretty good at grinding out games because of how they tag out, and they're always, summoning other Magnet Warriors from your hand and from the deck and stuff like that. I hope you enjoyed, and see you later.